Hey team, welcome to our monthly call. Thank you guys for being on and for listening today. We have a special topic and a special guest with us this month. Her name is Diamond Ambassador Emily Finnell. She has become a sweet friend and she is an amazing leader. And as I was thinking about the topic I wanted to do this month, that I've heard from many of you ask about different trainings and different topics we can do, I thought about positivity, because positivity is huge when running your Plexus business. If you cannot be positive, it might be a little bit harder to grow in this business. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have different things go on, good things in your business, and then harder times in your business. The company's going to go through hard times. We kind of have just with the back office in the last 9 months, and but it's important to remain positive. So I thought of Emily and her team, because not only have they just grown incredibly through all this, I just keep hearing from different people just how positive she is and how positive she uses that positivity to grow her business and to grow leaders. So Emily, I'm super excited to have you on, and I'm going to give it away to you, and she's going to share just some tips and how she's used that positivity to grow leaders and to grow her business. So, Emily?
Thank you, Suzanne. I actually, when Suzanne reached out to me to do this, initially I thought, well, I'm positive because I was raised by a mother who is like crazy positive. Like there could be 2 drops in the glass and she's like, it's half full. Like she was just crazy positive. So I thought that was just modeled for me, and that's just who I am. So I really had to do some analyzation. Like, what am I doing that actually is helping us go over those obstacles and helping my team grow during times that are challenging? So I kind of enjoyed analyzing this, and I kind of came up with, well, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about fundamentals, and then I want to really focus on what everybody wants to know is how to keep my team positive, right? So when I think of how I stay positive, 2 things came up. No.
It's okay. We can still hear you. Keep going. I know it froze. Are you there? Oh my gosh. Emily, are you there? Hang on. You there?
Yeah, that's
great. You're back on. Try it again. 2 things you thought from being positive. I still have the recording going, so keep going.
Are you serious? Oh my!
It's okay.
Your face is like frozen.
So was yours.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. So the 2 things are, number 1, faith. I have to have a foundation of my faith. I have to know that this is not my plan, okay? My life is not my plan. It's the Lord's plan. And I have to trust that. So I do a lot of praying. Prayer is kind of my first go-to. Number 2 is really problem solving. I don't want that to go kind of against the whole prayer, like give it to God, but you have to meet him halfway, right? You have to figure out what is the end result that I'm looking for. Don't worry about what's in the way of that. What is it that I'm looking for? And then how do I get around those things that are in the way without focusing on the things that are in the way? So I kind of look at focusing on those negatives as cheating on your diet. So hear me out. When you are eating healthy, you're feeling great, just kind of like when you're being positive, you're feeling great, things are moving forward. Well, that chocolate cake comes along that looks really, really good. So when you cheat on your diet and you indulge in maybe those unhealthy foods, you don't feel good. It makes you feel yucky. And that's the same way with indulging in that negativity. You feel yucky. You wish you didn't do it. And it's human nature to do it. So don't get me wrong. We all go through it. And there is something called healthy venting, which we're going to talk about when we talk about your team. So just don't let yourself fall into that negativity trap. Stay positive, stay within prayer, and really work on problem solving through things. Positivity what's really cool about it is when you start, it's a learned behavior. And when you start practicing this in your daily life with your Plexus business, it kind of bleeds into the rest of your life, right? I'm sure a lot of people have noticed that things that they learn in their Plexus business make them almost better people. Like you learn these things and then you notice you're doing them with your husband and your children, and you're not letting those frustrations get to you. You're instead problem solving, you're praying through them. So I think that's another benefit of this business, is how the self-growth is like disguised as the business. So that is kind of the first thing I wanted to share with you guys. And now that I have your buy-in, you guys are like, yes, I want to be positive. I can do those things. How do you bring your team along with you? That is probably a little bit more challenging, right? So you guys know that the first thing you need to do is you've got to model the behavior you desire, right? So you've got to show your team that this is your mindset. This is what you're doing. You're not focusing on the negatives. You're moving on. You're problem solving. You're praying through it. And you've got to be consistent with that. You can't just do it a couple of times and then fall back into it. So they're going to watch you, and that positivity will breed positivity. Negativity also breeds negativity. So that's when you have your wet blanket, right? You've got that one team member who's negative Nancy, and she's bringing everybody down. Well, I am a big fan of confronting, not confrontation, but more like, hey, I've noticed that you're really frustrated. Can you and I just talk? Identifying that person and talking to them. Now, this is where it's really important. You want to validate when people are frustrated. You do not want to go and say, listen, we're okay. Everything is going to be great. Just focus on the future. Like, you can't do that. You need to validate their frustrations. So I actually learned this from Gillian Norman, who is an amazing leader, and I respect her, the way that she runs her team so much. So I asked her a couple questions about this, and she told me this is what she does with her team, and I love it. She will, first of all, validate that they're frustrated, and then say, listen, I understand that you're upset, and you totally have a right to be. And then she gives them boundaries. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. For 2 minutes, you are going to vent to me and tell me everything you need to do. Like everything you need to say, put it out there, and let's talk through it. So you let them do that for 2 minutes and say, after 2 minutes, we're problem solving. Now we're going to move forward. We're done being frustrated. Now we're going to go on to the next phase, moving on, right? And setting those expectations and kind of just working through that with them. And it allows them to have that healthy vent, but then it also closes that door and we're moving on. That will get them out of that funk, hopefully, and again, help the team to prosper and keep going forward. I wanted to tell a little story, and this is kind of random, but I feel like it's kind of one of my secret weapons with positivity. When I was in high school, my father told me that if you are talking behind someone's back and you're saying negative things, the person that you're talking to, a little switch goes off in their mind. It's a subconscious thing, but they are now looking at you as someone that they can't really trust because they're hearing you talk about someone else. In the back of their mind, maybe subconsciously, they're realizing that you probably would do that about them, right? So you don't ever want to do that. And that was a pretty good lesson. The second story is about one of my good friends from college. His name was Steve, and he was like happy, fun guy. Everybody loved him. And I remember thinking to myself, why is it that everyone loves Steve? Like, what is it about him that everyone loves? And I started watching him and noticing that what Steve did was he did the opposite of that. He talked about people behind their backs and said amazing things all the time. I mean, he did it about everyone. It was like, hey, do you know that girl? Oh, yeah, she's awesome. She's so fun. You know, he was always just pouring positivity out there about other people behind their backs. And I thought that was really interesting. And I became, or I made that a habit of mine to really talk about people behind their backs in a really good way. Because I think that turns a switch on in the people's minds that you're talking to. Wow, this girl is really nice. Because again, if she's doing this, if she's saying this to me, she's probably going to, talk about me positive behind my back. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a interesting dynamic. I just thought that was a cool thing. And that's something I do. I will say that lately I've noticed I need to also make sure, especially with my leaders, that I'm not just talking positive behind their backs. I'm telling them because I feel like I do that a lot. Suzanne, I'm sure you do that where you're like, oh my God, she's so awesome. She's so awesome. But then you realize you're not saying it to them and they might not hear all those awesome things you're saying behind their backs. So that was just a little tip I thought that I would share.
Yeah.
It goes in with the whole positivity thing. So do you have any questions?
I love what you said about talking behind their backs in a positive way. That is such a good, like, I'm going to start doing that. Like, I mean, and I might do that unintentionally, but I need to be more intentional about doing that. That is such a great method in a great way. I love that. And like you said, just even talking, telling people there's things in my head, there's things in your head that you think, oh, she's so great, or she's such a good leader, but remembering to tell them is another thing, and so that's so true. There's that book, The 4 Color Personalities, and, I think in there you have different personalities, but also I know some people just personalities in general, or love language, I guess would be more this, would be like words of affirmation. I have team members that words of affirmation is huge in a positive way, obviously. And so I think too, just finding different team members and what they love and what they thrive on, whether it's those words of affirmation or doing things for them, helping them, spending time with them. Maybe you need to go meet with them, have a chat, have a coffee date with them, whatever it is, and finding those things in each of your leaders and each of your team members and what they need. But so go ahead. Did you have something?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I'm so glad that you brought up the positive affirmations, because words of affirmation, I think, are also really important. And it's one of those things that you don't realize how powerful they are until you start doing them. And a lot of people just don't realize that it's something they should add to their daily routine. And I know there's been so much about mindset and all of that stuff, but I just feel like it's what you're saying to yourself all the time, every day, is so incredibly important. Like when you're driving in the car, what are you thinking about?
Yeah.
For a long time, I thought about, I joke with my team. I say when I started Plexus, I knew with every fiber of my being that I would be a diamond. I just knew it. I never questioned it, but I thought about it all the time, right? I planned my diamond documentary in my head. Like I did those things, and those things were powerful, and I didn't even realize how powerful they were. Yeah. So also, I just think that's an important point as well with positivity, to really, what are you thinking about? And don't let yourself, again, go to that negative place and dwell.
You're exactly right. And that's another good point too. I have run across just talking to different people that I think they just can't fathom that they could be a diamond, that they could be at the top of a company. And so, like you said, I think they just don't go there. They don't tell themselves, I'm going to do this. I can be there. And so I think that's a huge roadblock for a lot of people, and just not even telling yourself, I am going to be that one day. And so you're so right. Mindset is just huge. And I'm learning more and more as I'm in the business how huge that is for people to have that positive mindset and to going there and to thinking that and dreaming big. I talk about that a lot, just dreaming big, that can happen. You can stay home and quit your job and be home with your children, or you can have financial freedom forever, and so good stuff. So Emily, thank you so much. Those were some great tips. I took away a lot. I love this topic. I think it needs to be brought up often. And I definitely appreciate you being on. Sorry for the technical difficulties early on, but I think we got most of it. So
good, I hope so.
No, hopefully recorded. Anyway, all right. Thanks, Emily. We'll talk to you later. Y'all have a good night. Thanks everybody for listening. Okay, bye.